Welcome to the Investors Trading Academy Economic Calendar of the Week. Each week our news analysts review the upcoming economic events that you should be monitoring. Last week's main focus was Janet Yellen's testimony before US lawmakers. The decline in oil prices and the tone of Yellen's testimony stressed the markets and caused a run to safe havens. This week's economic data becomes the main source of information after a relatively quiet past week in which Janet Yellen's testimony to truculent US politicians was the highlight of the last 7 days. CPI numbers from around the world are likely to continue indicating that price growth, especially in developed markets, is nowhere near the level central banks would consider ideal. UK retail sales and unemployment figures also loom large and will be key for direction in sterling crosses. There is the usual bevy of economic indicators to be released in the US in the coming week, and China emerges from the Lunar New Year holidays with the release of key economic data. The week kicks off on Monday with the January trade figures to be released in China. Analysts are tipping the trade surplus to have narrowed from $60.09 billion to $58.85 billion in January. US markets are closed on Monday for the President's Day holiday. European affairs will matter more than ever in the coming week, with investors and even the average man on the street expected to keep close tabs on the outcome of the European Council meeting on the 17th and 18th of February in Brussels. Should European Union heads of state agree to EU Council President Donald Tusk's draft proposal for the UK to remain inside the EU club, then that would kick off the countdown for the UK's referendum on membership, which was likely to be called for the 23rd of June, as long as an agreement between Cameron and EU leaders was forthcoming before the 3rd of March, Morgan Stanley said in a research note emailed to clients. After last week's sharp strengthening in the Japanese yen, data on that country's gross domestic product on Sunday and industrial production on the Monday afterwards would likely also attract more attention than usual. European Council aside, UK investors will be watching out for the latest UK unemployment report, which was scheduled for release on Wednesday, and data on public finances on Friday. In the US, the main releases to watch for were the minutes of the US Fed's last policy meeting, which were expected out on Wednesday, Thursday's Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, and lastly, come Friday, figures on consumer prices referencing the month of January.